So good afternoon, and welcome to the 2022 award and portrait presentations. It's really great to be here together, live, and to carry on the tradition of recognizing the members of the Johns Hopkins medicine family who symbolize the rich history and heritage of this institution. This afternoon, we'll honor 13 medical leaders who have greatly influenced medicine and science. A special welcome to all of today's awardees and honorees and their families, and many of you traveled a great distance to be here today. Thank you for doing that. I'm really delighted to have Julia Howler, the president of the Johns Hopkins Medical and Surgical Association, here today to help us present the honors and the School of Medicine's Distinguished Alumni and the Johns Hopkins Alumni Association Awards. Julia can come up.
Thank you. Thank you, Dean Rothman. I'm honored to participate in today's ceremony and welcome you all on behalf of the Johns Hopkins Medical and Surgical Association. Today's first award presentations are the Distinguished Medical Alumni Awards, honoring alumni of the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine and the Johns Hopkins Hospital who have demonstrated excellence and achievement through their personal and professional accomplishments. Our first recipient is Dr. Bob Carter. Dr. Carter is professor and chief of neurosurgery at the Massachusetts General Hospital, Harvard Medical School, where he co-founded and co-leads Mass General Neuroscience. He also co-leads Massachusetts General Hospital's brain tumor program, focused on neuro-oncology, clinical care, research, and education. He has championed efforts to promote health equity and faculty and staff diversity. Dr. Carter has published over 200 papers in the peer-reviewed literature, including high-impact research on improving outcomes for intracranial surgery and the development of gene transfer delivery techniques for the central nervous system. Dr. Carter. Congratulations.
Look at that. Hey, congratulations.
Many congratulations. Our next award recipient is Dr. Tamara Fountain. Dr. Fountain is professor of ophthalmology at Rush University Medical Center and section chair emeritus of ophthalmic plastic and reconstructive surgery. She also maintains a private practice on Chicago's North Shore. Dr. Fountain is past president of the American Academy of Ophthalmology, the American Society of Ophthalmic Plastic and Reconstructive Surgery, and the Illinois Society of Eye Physicians and Surgeons. Dr. Fountain was the first woman to become board chair of the Ophthalmic Mutual Insurance Company. Dr. Fountain is not able to join us this afternoon, and we proudly accept this award for her. Dr. James Hildreth is our next award recipient. Dr. Hildreth is an accomplished HIV researcher who is inducted into the National Academy of Medicine. He serves on the White House COVID-19 Task Force and on 2 key FDA panels responsible for review and approval of COVID-19 vaccines and drugs. Among his many trailblazing achievements, Dr. Hildreth was the first Black Rhodes Scholar from Arkansas. In 1994, he became the inaugural graduate school dean at the Johns Hopkins School of Medicine and the first Black dean in basic sciences here. He was also the first Black faculty member promoted to full professor in the basic sciences at Hopkins. Dr. Hildreth is also not able to be with us today, and we accept this award on his behalf. I now move to awards from the Johns Hopkins Alumni Association, which represents all 9 academic divisions of Johns Hopkins. It truly says something about the accomplishments of those associated with Johns Hopkins Medicine to have such a distinguished gathering of recipients in our presence today. Unfortunately, Dr. Diane Orlinsky could not join us today. She's listed in your program. So it's my great honor to present awards to those individuals who have been named by the Johns Hopkins University Alumni Association as Distinguished Alumni for 2022. Established in 1978, the Distinguished Alumni Awards honor those who have typified the Johns Hopkins tradition of excellence and have brought credit to the university through their professional achievement, professional accomplishments, or humanitarian service. Today we celebrate two distinguished alumni. I invite Dean Rothman to congratulate the awardees, and here he is. The first recipient of the 2022 Distinguished Alumnus Award is Dr. Raymond DiPaolo. Dr. DiPaolo is a University Distinguished Service Professor and co-director of the Mood Disorders Center in the Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences at Johns Hopkins, where he has been an active clinician, teacher, and researcher for over 45 years. He founded the Hopkins Affective Disorders Clinic, was the Henry Phipps Professor and Director of the Department of Psychiatry, and Psychiatrist-in-Chief at Johns Hopkins Hospital. He has authored over 180 peer-reviewed scientific articles and mentored many outstanding clinicians and scientists. Dr. DiPaolo, I welcome you to come forward. Congratulations. I like the cheering section in the back. The second recipient of the 2022 Distinguished Alumna Award is Dr. Maria Oliva Hemker. Dr. Oliva Hemker is the second Hispanic woman to be promoted to professor at the School of Medicine and the first to have risen through the ranks at Johns Hopkins. She is the Sturmer Family Professor of Pediatric Inflammatory Bowel Disease, Vice Dean for Faculty, and the Division Director for Pediatric Gastroenterology, Hepatology, and Nutrition. As Division Director, she tripled the number of faculty, dramatically expanding the division's clinical practice and enhancing the research and educational programs. Dr. Oliva Hemker was also the first woman elected to the Clinical Practice Association Board of Governors. Dr. Oliva, come forward. Okay. Really proud of you. Thank you. Great. We will now present the Community Champion Award, which recognizes outstanding contributions that address critical social, economic, and environmental needs throughout our society and impact communities. The 2022 Community Champion Award goes to Dr. Abby Wasserman for her work and leadership as the clinical director of Westchester County, New York's only crisis prevention and response team, where as a child and adolescent psychiatrist, she has provided care for children and families contending with social determinants of health, such as poverty, immigration, incarceration, racism, and housing insecurity. She is an enthusiastic partner and advocate for grassroots initiatives that further the emotional health and well-being of those most in need. And her vision for a comprehensive and resilient healthcare ecosystem continues to improve the well-being of all Westchester County residents. Dr. Wasserman, please come up to accept your award. Congratulations, it's so wonderful. Really well deserved.
Oh, thank you.
The Global Achievement Award honors alumni who exemplify the Johns Hopkins tradition of excellence and have brought credit to the university and their profession in the international arena through their professional achievements or humanitarian service. The 2022 Global Achievement Award goes to Dr. Deanna Saylor. Dr. Saylor has dedicated herself to improving neurological health for under-resourced communities in sub-Saharan Africa. She has ongoing research collaborations in Uganda and Zambia and previously lived and worked in Kenya. In 2018, Dr. Saylor and her family moved to Zambia, where she opened the first inpatient neurology service and neurology training programs in the country. Dr. Saylor has tirelessly devoted herself to mentoring the first generation of Zambian neurologists, and they have begun to establish themselves as future leaders of academic neurology and neurological care in the region. Accepting the award on behalf of Dr. Saylor is Dr. Justin MacArthur, Director of the Johns Hopkins Department of Neurology. Congratulations. Great for you. Our final award presented by the Johns Hopkins Alumni Association is the Outstanding Recent Graduate Award, which honors alumni for outstanding achievement or service in their professional or volunteer life within 10 years of graduation. Join me in congratulating Dr. Robert Drummond, who has been a tireless advocate for the Johns Hopkins MD PhD program and enthusiastic driver of diversity, particularly in improving representation of Black doctors within the program. In 2020, Dr. Drummond partnered with the television stations BET and CBS to coordinate a series of COVID-19 webinars with Black physicians to educate the Black community about COVID-19 and vaccination. Dr. Drummond also uses social media to break down complex medical topics into easily understood lessons on health for the public. Dr. Drummond, congratulations on this award. Really wonderful. Many congratulations. Dr. Samuel Asper, a 1940 graduate of the School of Medicine, served as Dean of the American University of Beirut School of Medicine in the mid to late 1970s with huge impact. He established the Samuel P. Asper Award for Achievement in Advancing International Medical Education in 1996. The award recognizes members of the Johns Hopkins Medical and Surgical Association who, after training at Johns Hopkins, return to their home countries to make significant impact on the health and education of their fellow citizens. Past recipients have represented Panama, China, Mexico, Iran, and Europe, as well as the United States. This year, we have an Australian. This year's recipient is Dr. Hugh Taylor, who came to Hopkins as a postgraduate fellow in ophthalmology, later joining the Wilmer faculty with joint appointments in the departments of epidemiology and international health. Hugh left Hopkins to assume the chairmanship of ophthalmology at the University of Melbourne and become founding director of the Center for Eye Research in Australia. Dr. Taylor's career as a clinician, researcher, educator, and mentor has transformed the global battle to understand and combat a number of blinding eye diseases, including trachoma and river blindness. Dr. Taylor's latest incarnation takes him to service as the founding director of Indigenous Eye Health at the University of Melbourne, where his tireless work on blindness prevention now focuses on the health and education of the Aboriginal population. Recognized worldwide for his contributions, Dr. Taylor in 2001 was made a Companion of the Order of Australia. Dr. Taylor. Well deserved. Long way to come. Hugh wins the long distance award from Melbourne, I think. If anybody else has a longer distance, let us know. It is now my pleasure to invite Dr. Carol Zeminski, Associate Professor of Rheumatology, to the podium to present our final award, the Johns Hopkins Women Medical Alumni Association Hall of Fame inductee, Dr. Zeminski.
Thank you. The Johns Hopkins Women's Medical Alumni Association Hall of Fame was established in 1993 to honor women who have made significant contributions to our community here at Johns Hopkins and to the larger world of medicine. The Hall of Fame recognizes women who have preceded us and women who have worked with us. It endeavors to bring to life the energy, enthusiasm, and passion of these individuals so that generations to come will have insight into the wide variety of accomplishments achieved by women in medicine at Johns Hopkins. The citation will be permanently displayed along with Hall of Fame honorees in the Mary Elizabeth Garrett Room, Halsted 106, following this ceremony. The plaque with the citation also includes a black and white photo of our honoree, and this particular photo was taken by Diane's husband, Dr. Lou Becker, and was a particular favorite photo of Diane's. The citation is quite long, but I just want to share a little bit of it so that you have some idea of this wonderful honoree that we celebrate today. Diane Becker was a public health scientist who championed community medicine in underserved areas and led research that found that a bit of dark chocolate could help the heart. We like that. Compelled to address public health and the people that she served, she completed both an MPH and doctoral degree at the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health. She joined the faculty of the Johns Hopkins School of Medicine in 1984 and became nationally recognized as an expert in coronary disease risk factors and lipid disorders. With her husband, cardiologist Dr. Louis Becker, in 1982, she founded an ongoing 37-year longitudinal study, now known as GeneStar, of 4,000 initially healthy relatives of early coronary disease patients. Dr. Becker was a creative and visionary professional. She was also founder of Heart, Body, and Soul, a model African-American community health program in partnership with 257 Baltimore churches. Working closely with CURE, Clergy United for Renewal in East Baltimore, Dr. Becker was a pioneer in public health medicine, known for her work to improve opportunities for community members to enter medically oriented careers. Her work to reduce health disparities was recognized with numerous national awards. In her almost 60 years at Hopkins, she was a sought-after mentor, touching many lives as she counseled generations of medical students, postdoctoral fellows, and faculty. She was a fierce advocate for women and maintained a research interest in salary and leadership equity in academic medicine. She was passionately committed to public and community health. Her wisdom continues to guide us. Diane was an inspiration to us all, as well as a dear friend and colleague to me. We deeply appreciate all that Diane did to advocate for women at Hopkins and women in medicine, and we wanted to honor her achievements. Dr. Becker's daughter was unable to join us today, but her husband, Dr. Louis Becker, is with us today, and we are also delighted to have one of Diane's mentees, Dr. Rita Kalyani, who is also joining us. We have for Dr. Becker a shortened version of the citation that I will deliver over to him in a moment. Thank you so much.
So first, I'd like to congratulate all of this year's honorees. Can we give them another round of applause? The portrait collection of the Johns Hopkins Hospital and the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine expand each year with distinguished faculty, trustees, and directors, and others who've played a significant role at the Johns Hopkins Medicine institutions. The institution's collection consists of more than 300 portraits honoring the great educators, investigators, leaders, and philanthropic supporters who've contributed to Johns Hopkins through giving of their time, talent, and energy. I'd like to take a moment to recognize the three artists behind the skilled hands that created today's portraits: Lisa Argali, David Riney, and Judy Taylor. Could you please stand and get our applause? Thank you. So I get to talk about the first awardee. That's Dr. Robert Higgins. Dr. Robert Higgins always knew he wanted to follow in his father's footsteps. His father was a physician serving his community in Charleston, South Carolina as one of the few underrepresented minorities practicing medicine in the 1950s and 1960s in the South. Bob shares that only 3% of physicians are people of color in the US. Those who've made it must create opportunities for women and individuals coming from diverse backgrounds. He explains, if we don't create a future that embraces a more inclusive, diverse workforce, we won't have the best and brightest people in our field because diversity is what saves lives. Bob felt that his dad passed before he was able to accomplish many of his goals, and in his honor, Bob took the mantle and continued in the field of medicine. Following the passing of his father, Bob and his family moved to downtown Albany at the age of 5. His mother insisted that Bob and his brothers needed a structure and academic discipline in addition to a safe place to go to school. With the support of his grandparents, his mother enrolled them at the Albany Academy, knowing that it was the best K-12 experience in the city. Bob consistently had natural interest in biology, but it only became truly a passion in college, where because of repeated knee injuries, he was sidelined from the Dartmouth football team. After several surgeries, he refocused his interest in healthcare, which launched him on a path to a career as a physician. As a medical student at the Yale University School of Medicine, where I met him, Bob's first clinical mentor was William Glenn, a well-known pediatric heart surgeon at Yale. Through this mentorship, Bob became enamored with cardiac surgery and focused on cardiology and transplantation. Bob stated, not only can we understand the science of taking organs from one person and giving them to another, but we also use medication to suppress the immune system to prevent rejection. It's really an amazing concept. He completed his residency in general surgery and served as chief resident at the University Hospital of Pittsburgh. He was a Winchester Scholar and Fellow in Cardiothoracic Surgery at the Yale School of Medicine. He spent a year as a senior registrar in transplantation at Papworth Hospital, the United Kingdom's largest cardiothoracic surgical program and main heart and lung transplant center. Bob became a surgeon at the Henry Ford Hospital and then chair of cardiothoracic surgery at Virginia Commonwealth University. He then held a similar position at Rush University in Chicago, followed by a position as Department of Surgery Chair and Director of the Comprehensive Transplant Center at the Ohio State University Medical Center. That's for redundant. Bob came to Johns Hopkins in 2015 as Surgeon-in-Chief of the Johns Hopkins Hospital and the William Halstead Professor of Surgery at the Johns Hopkins School of Medicine. At Hopkins, Bob led enterprise-wide clinical expansions of our surgical services across all 6 of our hospitals and our multiple ambulatory centers. Bob helped launch Hopkins' first system-wide multidisciplinary service line, the Comprehensive Transplant Center. Bob Higgins has a strong commitment to diversity and inclusion. Bob has championed increased access, mentorship, and sponsorship for medical students, residents, and early career faculty, particularly those underrepresented minorities in medicine. He was appointed the Senior Associate Dean for Diversity and Inclusion at the Johns Hopkins School of Medicine in July 2020. In October 2021, Bob announced the Levi Watkins Faculty Leadership Development Fellowship, which was formed to help underrepresented minorities advance their careers via mentorship and special projects. Somehow, in 2021, Bob left Hopkins to become president of the Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston and the executive vice president of Mass General Brigham. Not only but Bob's a leading authority in heart and lung transplantation, minimally invasive cardiac surgery, and mechanical circulatory support. His scientific interests are broad and far-ranging, including the mechanism of cell injury in failing hearts, health economics and policy, racial disparities in post-transplantation outcomes, access to care, and improving outcomes among heart failure and cardiac surgery patients. He's authored more than 140 scientific articles and 13 book chapters. Among his other professional roles, he was the president of the Society of Thoracic Surgeons, president of the United Network of Organ Sharing, president of the Society of Black Academic Surgeons, president and founding member of the Association of Black Cardiovascular Thoracic Surgeons, and a member of the board of directors in the American Board of Thoracic Surgery. Bob is an old friend, a very special person, and he really is a leader of academic medicine now, both here and in Boston. Bob, I can't wait to see your portrait. I hope it looks like you. Congratulations. This one? I hope this is you. No. All right, go ahead. It just got pulled. I'd like to now call Corrine Sandon. Corey, could you come up?
Emeritus Professor Gary P. Lees is an international leader in the education of professional medical illustrators. Hopkins is one of only 4 institutions with an accredited graduate program in medical illustration. In his 50 years at Hopkins, Gary served as the director of the Department of Art as Applied to Medicine for 34 years, from 1983 to 2017, including stewardship during the transition of medical illustration from traditional hand-drawn artwork to digital production. He established and built programs to ensure the department's technology and curriculum remained in the vanguard of the field. He developed and taught over 30 different courses in medical and biological illustration graduate program, advised 75 graduate students for their master's essays, published and illustrated papers and prepared scientific exhibits, primarily of ophthalmologic and gynecologic subject matter. He edited the Journal of Biocommunication and preserved the Max Bradel Archives, an extensive historical collection of medical artwork. He continues to serve as the archivist for the Max Bradel Archives, which are housed in our department in the 1830 building. In that room, we have a portrait of our founder, Max Bradel, soon to be joined by this portrait of Gary. This is a particularly unique unveiling because the portrait was painted by a current faculty member in our department. Professor David Reaney is the director of our graduate program and a phenomenal portrait artist. David was mentored by Peter Agley, who has created many outstanding portraits of Hopkins leaders. Well, David has painted several of the portraits currently in the Hopkins collection. This was a special one. His sitter had been his director, colleague, and friend, so no pressure. Thank you, David, for applying your special talent, care, and attention to making this memorable portrait of our beloved leader, Gary Lees. I would like to ask you to help Gary unveil the portrait.
invite George Dover to come up.
It is my pleasure to formally present the portrait of David Valley to the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine. At the onset, none of his accomplishments listed in the program today would have been possible without the patience, perseverance, and love of his wife, Sue. She kept him as close to on time as possible. We call that Valley time. And shared their home with innumerable students, fellows, residents, and faculty. He is also joined today by his son, Josh, wife, Mary, and granddaughter, Margaret. Thank you all for being here. I'm sure Dave would not mind sharing this moment with those he considered his mentors. Jim Sidbury, who helped focus his interest in genetics at Duke and recommended to come to Hopkins. Jim Pong, with whom he worked in the Institute of Cellular Metabolism at the NIH and is here with us today. Victor McCusick, who opened the adult genetics clinic to a young pediatrician. And most of all, Barton Childs, who helped us all redefine the role of genetics in the 21st century. Now, rather than reiterate the list from today's programs of Dave's remarkable academic accomplishments as a physician scientist in genetics, I'd like to focus my brief remarks on two major impacts that Dave has had on Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine over the past 50 years. First, it's entirely fitting that he will always be known as the founding director of the Department of Human Genetics at the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine. This department now has 45 full-time faculty members, participates in 4 or 5 clinical residency programs, and has more than 70 graduate students. Now, for those of you interested in history at Hopkins, for most of the 50 years that Dave's been here, there's been a tendency to relegate genetics at Hopkins to the description of individual clinical departments or basic science departments. Dave was he was an early advocate of genetics as a standalone clinical and scientific discipline within the School of Medicine. More than anyone else, his clinical expertise, scientific accomplishments, and leadership in formal genetics education within the medical school are responsible for the creation of full departmental status of the Department of Genetic Medicine today. 2 of the department's most prolific laboratory cores, the Center for Inherited Disease Research and the Baylor Hopkins Center for Mendelian Genetics, were founded and led by Dave. He's led the pre-doctoral training program in human genetics for more than 30 years and has expanded the program to more than 75 students. He's co-directed the McCusick Short Course in Genetics at Bar Harbor since 1999, which attracts hundreds of students and scientists annually to update their knowledge of genetics. The second major impact that Dave's had on the School of Medicine was that he, along with Dave Nichols and Charles Weiner, were the co-founders of the current Genes to Society curriculum of Johns Hopkins Medical School. This new curriculum broke with the 100-year-old idea that medicine was there to treat diseases. Now Hopkins students are trained to focus on each patient as individuals with unique genetic and environmental backgrounds. The Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine will continue to be a leader in genetic medicine in the 21st century because of Dave's 50 years of devotion to it. Thank you. Oh, wow.
On behalf of the Johns Hopkins University and School of Medicine, it gives me great pleasure to accept these 3 portraits. The influence of these individuals has helped Hopkins become what it is today and has strengthened us more for the future. I'd like to close this very special ceremony by again congratulating each and every one of the award and portrait honorees. Can we give them a big hand? I'd like to thank all of the family, friends, and colleagues who are joining us today. We're going to have a reception in the tent next to the building. And I'd like the awardees to stay up so we can get some more pictures of you all. So again, thanks everyone for coming today, and congratulations.